Before the sun had fully risen, a quiet yet powerful moment unfolded in the heart of Burkina Faso. Without pomp or fanfare, the national colors were hoisted into the sky. The national anthem played, but not with ceremonial flair, rather with steady, solemn pride. It was not a typical state event. There were no parades, no orchestrated protocol. But what made this moment so profound was its symbolism. The simple act of raising the flag alongside the anthem of the newly established Confederation of Sahel States, AES, marked a subtle but significant shift. Burkina Faso is not only affirming its sovereignty, it is realigning its identity. This morning's scene wasn't about ceremony. It was about conviction. A quiet declaration that a nation stands tall, unshaken in the face of pressure, and firmly committed to a new path. As the flag rose, so too did the hopes of a people who have endured, resisted, and are now rising. In a calm yet forceful tone, Captain Ibrahim Traoré addressed the nation with words that reflected not just leadership, but transformation. Comrades, he began, his greeting personal, his message urgent. Speaking at the dawn of the final month of the semester, Traoré called on administrators and citizens alike to reflect, adapt, and recommit. His message was clear. Burkina Faso is at a turning point. The fight for unity in Africa is not an idealistic dream, it's a necessity. Traoré acknowledged that unity in Africa is difficult, but reminded the people that it is the only viable solution to foreign domination. He boldly questioned why imperialist powers fear the Confederation of Sahel states, then answered it himself. They fear African unity because they know its power. He spoke of the daily pressures facing the alliance, the temptations designed to divide them, imperialist efforts to push one member state to betray another. But Traoré was unshaken. There are no friendships in geopolitics, he said, only interests. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger must recognize this and forge ahead together. He urged civil servants to match the sacrifice of fighters on the front lines. He called for intensified work ethics, for administrative courage, and for the strength to push beyond what is comfortable Traoré reminded his people, Burkina Faso is not poor. We are rich. That is why they fight us. He painted a vision of an independent Sahel, thriving off its own natural wealth, not wealth stolen or sold, but managed for the benefit of its people. He ended with a rallying cry that echoed beyond the moments. La patrie ou la mort, nous vaincrons. The homeland or death, we shall overcome.
My dear comrades, hello.
We're now in the last month of the semester, the first semester of the year 2025.
I hope that we can use this month
to start thinking about the prospects for the second semester
and see what worked in our administrations and what did not work.
And as you can see, this morning we have just raised the flags with the anthem of the Confederation, which is another step that we carry out in our union.
Which is not without difficulty.
Because unity is hard, especially in Africa. It's difficult to unite. But that's the solution. We must unite. Little by little, the AES is making its way. Despite all the difficulties, all the challenges ahead of us. If I were naive, I would ask myself, but why don't the imperialists want this union?
But I'm not naive, I know why.
And it's the same question that those who tend to still sleep must ask themselves. Why do they not want us to unite? Why does the Confederation scare or hurt some so much? Because we are approached every day by those imperialists to bring one of the three to betray the other. We have been facing that for a long time. Each time, it's these kinds of maneuvers that are there to make you leave the Confederation. It must make us think.
When we look at the report,
In fact, there is no friendship.
the world, there are only interests.
People only come to us for their own interests. We need to be very aware of that. We will be fought against, we will continue to be fought against, but we will emerge victorious and strong. These situations we are experiencing, we should not take them and feel sorry for ourselves. On the contrary, they should strengthen us. We must emerge very strong from this war, understand why we were so attacked, to build ourselves up and ensure that in the coming century, we do not experience this type of situation.
That's what we need to keep in mind.
So, I invite everyone to redouble their efforts because the Burkinabe is known as someone
Very courageous, very hardworking, very resilient, and these values, we must therefore work to improve them. Everywhere you go in Africa or elsewhere in the world, you will find Burkinabe. And these are the values that qualify and identify the Burkinabe. So we must do everything possible to be people of integrity, as the country's name suggests, to be courageous, resilient, full of self-sacrifice, and double our efforts in everything we do for the happiness of Burkina, but also for the happiness of our confederation.
That's very important.
And once we have reached a certain level, you will understand even better why they fought us. Because our country is rich, rich in its human value, rich in its moral values, but especially rich in its subsoil. And it is these riches that are coveted. But these riches should benefit the Burkinabes. Nothing has started yet in terms of natural resource exploitation and thus distribution. At the level of the general populace, we can change the face of our country. We can move from underdevelopment and quickly become an emerging nation. All it takes is work. Everyone needs to get involved. Just as the fighters are sacrificing themselves at the front, we must also be able to sacrifice in the administration. We must ensure that we work beyond what we are used to doing to push our capabilities further, because, same as I was saying, we need to go very fast. And it's by going fast that we can surprise those who seek to divide us, those who seek to keep us in our situation of poverty. Burkina is not poor. I tell you, I repeat, we are very rich. And that is our major problem. It's because of this wealth that they don't want us to first realize that we are rich and to be able to exploit our riches. Beyond Burkina, the entire Sahel is rich, immensely rich, and I know you all know it. The Sahel will not remain poor. We will continue on our path, continue building the AES, and be strong, resilient, make the AES a space of total security, be able to properly exploit the resources so that they benefit our popular masses. On this note, I invite you to pass this message to all your close ones. We must sacrifice here, at the back, in the offices, to be able to support those on the front lines. So I wish you a very good week, a very good month of June, and a very good end to the first semester, and see you soon to face the second semester with more energy, more dedication, more courage. The homeland or death.
Then came a moment that marked history. The anthem of the Confederation of Sahel States, AES, rang out. Not just a song, but a declaration of intent. As its powerful verses echoed through the air, one thing became unmistakable. The Sahel has found its voice. The lyrics paid tribute to the peoples of the Sahel, descendants of ancient empires, defenders of freedom, and architects of a future no longer dictated by foreign hands. With words of sovereignty, courage, and unity, the anthem enshrined the values of this new regional alliance. Determined, resilient, and united, it sang, so that the AES may remain one land, one people, one destiny. This wasn't just an anthem. It was a call to arms, a reminder to every citizen that their story is still being written. No longer as fragmented colonies or isolated republics, but as a confederation born of struggle and sustained by pride. The anthem celebrated not just the past, but the unshakable will to carve out a better future. And as it concluded, it left a clear message. The era of dependency is over. A new dawn is rising in the Sahel.